what to do. I don't know what to do. What should I do?
Every day trying to fight off depression, put a smile on her face, give off a fake impression, even though on the inside she was fighting demons. Looking at her from the outside, you couldn't see him. She hated herself, thought she'd be better off dead, so she came up with a plan to make the thoughts stop in her head. Next day after class, she met up with Dave. Dave sold a bunch of pills, he was trying to get paid. Sarah went back to her house and wrote a suicide note. Told her family she loved him, but she just couldn't cope. Popped the top off the bottle and swallowed them down. About 20 minutes later, she was falling to the ground. When her roommate walked in, she was foaming at the mouth. Dialed 911 quick, please send some help now. Luckily the paramedics was able to bring her back. Now she wears a semicolon to remind her of that.
Life feels like it's but a stone. Keep getting deeper in this hole I'm in. I'm a few cards short of a full deck. That's just the cards I'm holding. No silver lining, out of my mind, and that glow keep going, going, going. Life feels like it's but a stone. I'm a few cards short of a full deck. That's just the cards I'm holding. Semicolon tab is showing. No silver lining, out of my mind, and that glow keep going, going, going. Life feels like it's but a stone.
And that's a cut off the latest by Mr. Michael Barber, AHAYWEH. That's his latest release, and that's a cut off of that release called Semicolon. And this is the interview that we've been talking about for all week, and he's in the house right now. Michael, thanks a lot for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, Michael's going to be at the Stack Gallery tomorrow at 416 Washington Avenue, and it's going to be a CD release party, but there's also going to be some art involved. And I might have mistakenly said that it was your art, but you have some folks coming in who are going to support the CD with their art. So why don't you talk about that?
Right. It's a ton of local artists among national artists as well. But I got together with some local artists, and they did pieces for the album. They each took a song and did a piece to it. Some great stuff. Christina Zimmer Robinson did a piece. Ryan McCain did a couple pieces. He did the piece for Quiet War, which you played earlier, I believe. And like Nikki Pritchard, there's just some great local artists that have donated for this. And all the money that's raised is going to be donated to a charity called Seven Sisters. And that's a charity that deals with the opioid epidemic.
Okay, and is that a local charity?
It is a local charity.
Okay.
It's 7 women that have lost a family member to the tragedy.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and I know some of these women, and I know some of the people that were lost. And so... And I also know that if anybody can attack this crisis, it's these women, and they can, take it on and hopefully end it, which is, saying a lot because it's at an epidemic proportion right now.
Exactly, and somebody who's been touched personally by it sometimes has a lot more passion than some organization or some government-funded organization. I don't understand that. As I was looking at this, I want to just say that, I was looking over some of the events this weekend, and while this is a jazz station and we have some hip-hop and some R&B and some things in our format, it's not necessarily here, but I thought it was really interesting that you were combining your CD release party with the art gallery. I know that the Stack Gallery has been a place where a lot of people have come in and been able to present their art, but also do some unique and unusual things. Do you have a relationship with Stack, or is that just a convenient place? I mean, explain how that all came about.
That came from Ryan and Christina, who I spoke about earlier, who are doing pieces. I was looking for a place to do something like this because I really wanted to do something for this charity. All the money that's raised for that song, Quiet War, streams, sales, will go to the charity. But I wanted to do something more, and I wanted to put together an event, but I didn't want to perform. And the reason I didn't want to perform is because this is more of a studio album. I recorded it to be heard and not really played live, and I'm an independent artist. So
Right.
Putting together this album, I wrote everything on it except for one verse. You're talking about 17 songs. The whole thing I wrote everything from the bass line to the lyrics to the guitar, everything, the piano, everything. So it took a long time to do that. I didn't have the ability of a major artist to say, okay, now here's how we're going to do the live show.
Right.
But I wanted to release, and I wanted it to be done the right way, so I decided to do an event like this, tie in the charity, tie in some art, and the Stat Gallery came about because of them. They said this is a great place.
Sure.
I went down there once, checked it out. It's awesome. If you haven't been there, you need to go there. It's just
It
great.
is a very nice place,
It
and
is.
it's a great thing because outside the Haney's Corner area, which is the Haney Corner Arts District, it's kind of moved up Washington Avenue. So there's a couple other places there, and that's kind of moved that up from Haney's Corner and kind of expanded that area, which is really great. I know that you've been involved in hip hop and the music business, and as an artist and a composer since the late '90s. Your first CD was the Thrift Shop 2 Hip Hop, correct?
Oh, no, I actually put out material before that. That was really the first album that I got to do on a solo basis.
Okay.
I was in a group before that, and, you know, we did release material.
Okay.
I was in a group called Rhyme Lady, and we put out stuff in early 2000s. We did relatively well in college music,
Right.
journal and stations and stuff like that. But that was the first solo album that I got picked up to do, and that was going to come out on Death Row, and it never came out. And that's why I'm the last signed solo artist to ever have a deal with Death Row Records,
Okay.
which is amazing. But the record never came out. It got lost in the bankruptcy, and they still have it. I've tried to release songs here and there from it and just put them out, but it's never got the momentum that it should have, I think.
Okay. Well, with this particular release, AHAYWEH, how many releases have you had since that? Obviously, that was a non-starter, but how many have you had out before this?
I don't know. Total, I have no idea. I mean, I've been on stuff that's been released in Germany. I've been released on albums with Johnny Depp. I was on the last Nappy Roots album. So there's so much. As far as solo material, there's a few things, but I don't think I've ever had an album like this to come out, which is straight. It all has a theme. It all ties together of something like this, and something where I can sit down really the last couple years and put it together as a full album. So it's kind of like I put out other stuff, and I couldn't tell you a number on how many things I put out because it's just been sporadically placed here and there
Right.
with singles.
Uh-huh.
And as far as doing an album, I would say this is the first one that's totally me.
Okay. And you've been traveling around a lot, though, since you started. I know that you spent some time in Florida and you've been overseas. I know that there's a group coming into Evansville. Lamascos is one of our supporters, and I know Nappy Roots is some folks you've been associated with. So I know you've been out and about. And I know you also have a family. So was the family kind of why you decided to come to Evansville? Was it a business situation? I mean, exactly what happened there?
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I'm from the area, a family. It was a good place for me to grow up, and I think hopefully it would be a good place for my son to grow up. But I don't know if, it wasn't a business decision, no. I mean, this isn't a hip-hop area. This isn't a music area.
Right.
It needs to be, and that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I want to do. I want to get the art going here, music going here. But there is music and art here. I'm not saying it's not, but it could be, I think, better. And I think it's kind of like Evansville's just, it just called me home. And even on this album, it's got all Evansville art on it. Everything in it is related to Evansville. All even the inside is all, shots from Evansville.
Excellent. Well, we're going to listen to another cut off of it. The cut is Sinners and Saints, right?
Yes.
Why don't you talk about that and set it up for us?
Okay. Well, yeah, it's a song that I did, and it just kind of like when my mom was talking to me about different things, and in this world there's sinners and there's saints.
Well, here's Mr. Mike Barber, his latest release, AHAYWEH, and Sinners and Saints, right here on 91.5 UEV.
Mama say nothing good after midnight. She's right. If I don't come home, she's right. Just the sinners, just the sinners. You meet those lost who used to be winners. You might find sinners who used to be saints. Run through dreams put down by quitters. Into this place you won't feel safe. Just the sinners, just the sinners. You see someone when you're all alone. Might meet yourself, it is unknown. But you tell me, how did mama know? Unless she went and said hello.
Once again, another cut off of Michael Barber's latest release, AHAYWEH, and that's Saints and Sinners. We're here in the studio with Michael talking about a great opportunity for you to experience what he does and who he is. That's coming up tomorrow evening, starting at 5 p.m. at the Stack Gallery at 416 Washington Avenue in downtown Evansville. There's going to be an album release party and then art that some of his friends have come together and produced based on the songs off of this new CD. Once again, Mike, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
We were talking about, while the song was playing, about what it took and what you put into this new album. So why don't you spend a few minutes and tell everybody about the album, some of the inspirations, and how it came to be.
Okay, well, it was a process. And like I said, I worked on it for a few years, putting everything together. It's 17 songs. It's really something that I had in my mind to do for probably 10 years, that I want to put together an album that could be, played on different levels, and the songs each have different meaning. Each one of the songs is going to have a charity. So if you buy the song, there are 17 different charities that I'm working with. Like we talked about earlier, one of them is the Seven Sisters. I'm doing one with the Semicolon. I'm doing one with domestic violence. There's just, every song is going to have a different charity that's going to.
So when this finally, and we'll talk about that in a minute, so when this finally hits online, download, CDs, however you're going to put it out to the public, is everybody going to be able to see how each one of these songs are connected to a separate charity?
Right. michaelbarber.org will have all the charities listed. And you can go to michaelbarber.org and buy the hard copy CD, or you can order a vinyl. And as far as, yes, once it's online, it'll be on Spotify, Pandora, everywhere in the world that you can get it online, on your phone or whatever. Yeah, and you'll be able to see it on the website where it's going to.
All right. As far as doing this, it took you a while to do it.
Right.
And you said that the songs are all connected to specific charities. Mm-hmm. Are all these songs, the inspiration for these songs, are they all based on the charities that they're connected with?
No, that kind of came later, but they all they're all personal and they all have. I put the charities into them later, which is just because I wasn't thinking about it at the time. It came later when I started doing the Seven Sisters, and I started having, like I said, a song about domestic disturbance. Semicolon, the song you played earlier, that money's going to the Semicolon charity, which is Semicolon charity is people get a semicolon tattoo on them when they've, survived a suicide attempt because their life paused and kept going. So no, that came later. It was not connected, but I think it's good to do that, and I think, like I said, all the songs tied together. So there's an overall theme, which is kind of a dying entity with albums. There's not even people really don't even do albums anymore. You don't need to. It's a singles world.
Right.
So I think it's, like I said earlier, this might be my first full album doing it like this, and it's probably the last one,
Right.
that I'll do like this, because it's just there's not the market for it.
And of course, once again, though, putting it out in vinyl along with everything else is kind of the trending thing, because everybody's going back to vinyl. I know that I just saw somewhere where a new record store opened up somewhere locally, and they were really pushing the vinyl. And the first day, a lot of people came, and now they're looking to restock the vinyl, and that's not as easy as it seems.
It's not. And vinyl, it's a lot different, and it's more expensive, but it does have that niche market. And I'm also going to do cassettes. The cassettes aren't ready yet, but I want to do cassettes because people are collecting those too. I collect cassettes myself.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, so those are coming back too. So
cool, man.
I'm going to have those available here shortly.
All right, we're here with Michael Barber talking about his new release and the great opportunity you have to meet him. You're going to be there tomorrow, right?
I will be there, yes.
All right. To meet him at the Stack Gallery at 416 Washington tomorrow at 5 p.m. I didn't mean to be funny about that, but I know a lot of times, you'll have the thing and the artist will either be there or not be there depending on what it is. That's
right.
Little idiosyncrasies of the business sometimes. So that's it.
Absolutely. No, I will be there.
All right. We also talked about your studio and how this was an in-house production, but how your studio is very well equipped. And of course, you've been doing this for a long time, so obviously you know what you're doing. Besides producing your own work, are you interested in producing anything locally? How's that work with you as an artist?
Yeah, I'm open to it. It's difficult working with artists. Artists are just different, usually different type of people. So and a lot of times it's just like just how their brain works. Some people are just very artistic. They don't have a business side to them. So it's difficult. And I've tried to manage artists before and produce artists before, and I have successfully done things of that nature. But it's very difficult. You have to find the right person, and you don't want to waste time on something. That's one of the reasons that I do it, because I got into it on the other side, trying to do different things. I was an artist, but it was more, and then you kind of realize that it's different creating and then promoting. It's just two different entities, and it's so different. But yeah, I'm absolutely open for it. And if anybody wants to contact me, I will do it. I would love to work with local artists. I love working with new artists. There's nothing better than working with a hungry artist.
Right.
Nothing better.
Especially if you have a connection with them, and sometimes that communication is something that's verbal. But if you can communicate without doing that, sometimes recently they've been doing a retrospective on the 90s, where the music business really got into supporting good causes. I mean, We Are the World, the Live Aid, those kind of things, and of course Quincy Jones is all over that. And you listen to him talk and some of the things that he did, and as influential as he was, as you said, if he was really honest, well, he's glad he did it, and he's glad who he was. It wasn't all a piece of cake that a lot of people might have thought it was.
Yeah, right. And Quincy is he's a rare breed.
Yeah.
He's a genius.
I mean, one of his favorite sayings is analysis is paralysis, things
Right.
like that. We're sitting here talking to Michael Barber. Before we go ahead and end this, can you give everybody some information about where they can get not only this particular new release, but also all the rest of your stuff, and then also about the Seven Sisters charity?
Okay, well, I'll start with the Seven Sisters because they are a group of women, and if I know as soon as I saw these women come together, and some of the people behind the scenes with the Keon family, when I saw that they were going to take on this, I said, they're going to handle the opiate. They're going to take care of it. I can donate a song, write a song, donate money, but I can't do what they're going to do because I know how powerful and determined that they can be, and they'll take it over. Now, as far as where you can get the album, right now you can only get the album at michaelbarber.org. You can get the single, Quiet War, anywhere online, anywhere you stream, Pandora, Napster, iTunes, Google Play, whatever you have, Google Music, whatever it is. anywhere like that, you can get Quiet War. All that money's going to the Seven Sisters. But to get the full 17 songs sent to you, you got to go to michaelbarber.org.
Okay. And while we're here, just because, I found it interesting, I know the Quiet War, being the cut off this release, has also got some recognition that the rap world and the hip-hop world doesn't necessarily get. So you want to talk about that for a minute?
As far as this
recognition, and
oh,
the thing with President
getting
Trump,
a letter from President Trump,
yeah.
Right. Well, I don't think President Trump is like any other president before him,
Right.
And I think
that's for sure.
Yeah. So I think that it's not. But if you do want to look at the president before him, Obama had a lot of hip hop in the White House.
Sure.
Jay-Z, Chance the Rapper, he had a lot of, hip hop stuff come in there, and I think Trump is connected more in the entertainment world. I think he understands the entertainment world a little bit better,
Right.
And I think he's very connected. I mean, you just saw Kardashian in the White House
I know.
this week, and you've seen what's Mr. Kim Kardashian West,
I know.
Kanye
West.
So he's really a red hat. So it's I don't think it's anything going on with the president. It's not typical. This is something different. So I will say this: the most important thing about the letter that I got from President Trump, he says that he's going to put $250 million into fighting this epidemic. That is the most important thing in that letter, because if he can end this epidemic, this opioid epidemic, that will be his legacy. He wants to make America great again. That's how he can do it.
And I know that it's really tough. I mean, a lot of people who get on opioids aren't people who are on the streets looking for a new high. They're people who have been injured some way, shape, or form, and they've been given those opioids as a way to kill the pain, as part of the therapy coming out of the injury. And then before they know it, they're hooked on them, but they can't get them anymore. So then it snowballs and cascades into other things, and it's really bad. So I applaud you for everything you're doing. That's great. One last question before we get out of here. Once again, I appreciate you coming in and spending time. I know that you can be real busy, especially with what's going on this weekend. As far as your business and the business, we talked about hip hop in the White House and how it's all over our culture. I mean, it's in advertisements. I mean, I'm a little older person, and I remember commercials years ago the way they were. And the first time I was in an elevator and I heard Led Zeppelin, and now people are getting older and older, and that kind of music, whether it's a particular artist or not, is pervading in everything we do as far as advertisements go. What do you see the future of the business being, saying 10 years from now?
As far as music or hip hop, or both?
Hip hop, particularly.
Well, hip hop has turned into, it's pop. It's pop. It's everywhere. It's transcends color, race, everything. So I think pop music right now is hip hop, which is just it's good and bad. But the music business has changed so much that I don't know in 10 years what the music industry will be. I think the music industry is gonna be gone in the next 20 years. I don't think there's not gonna be artists anymore like there are today. There'll still be there's not really today. It's very limited, and I think that it's gonna change. And I don't think there'll be musicians. People don't want to be that anymore. I think it'll change so much, and you're competing with so much. Trying to be a musician, like, here, listen to my song. I don't want to listen to your song. I want to be on my Facebook I want to do so much other things. Exactly. I think music is going to be movie background, stuff like that. I think it's going to change so much. Like, I feel like it'll turn into something else, and it's dying, and I think musicians will be. But as far as hip hop's pop now to me. It's just everywhere. It's, from every walk of life.
And as you continue to do that, how do you see that affecting you? I mean, is that something that you're going to continue to do, whether it's a profession or as a hobby, or is it sometime you're going to be like everybody else? You're going to say, I'm tired of this, and I'm going to move on to something else.
No, well, it's a passion, and it's something that I love, and I'll do it. I would do it for free, and I will do it till I'm 90 years old. Okay. So I will always make music. I always freestyle and rap and things of that nature. So there's nothing that personally I just love to do it.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
You have a son.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
And I've seen him on Facebook, and you look like you're a loving and adoring father and a good family and all that. Your son gets old enough and he decides he wants to bust some rhymes. Are you going to let him do it?
Yeah, I mean, I want him to be happy. Yeah,
okay.
If that makes him happy and that's what he wants to do, absolutely.
Okay.
If he doesn't want to do it, then he doesn't want to do it. If he wants
go.
to get into, polka or something else, or not get into music, that's fine too. I want him to be happy.
Excellent. Well, once again, we've been talking to Michael Barber. We've been talking about his latest release and also an excellent opportunity for you to meet the artist and get some of this new music and also see some art associated with it and support a great charity, the Seven Sisters. And that's going to take place at the Stack Gallery tomorrow, 5 p.m., 416 Washington in downtown Evansville. And as we leave here, we're going to play one last cut. This is cut number 6, and it's called Recession Proof Mob, correct?
It is, and that it was actually, that goes in with the Occupy Wall Street when that was going on. That's when I wrote these lyrics, and which was a while ago. But I think it's still with corporations and big banks and things like that. This song ties into that.
All right, well, listen, thanks a lot for taking time.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to continue playing this, and after that, we're going to continue with some more great jazz. Once again, you're here on 91.5 WUEV, your place for jazz and a little something else here in the Tri-State.
Remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder treason and plot. I know the reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
Kill 'em all like God sort 'em out. Kill 'em all like God sort 'em out. Stomping in our big black boots. Here we come and we coming like troops. Marching from our corner to your block. If we riot, then we riot, but not our own shops. If we come, then we come, and we coming for your banks. Want the money and the gold. Want the keys to the road. See, we marching, we here till they all leave. And we gonna take them all out on Wall Street. See, we marching, we here till they all leave. And we gonna take them all out on Wall Street. Get your water and shelter and camo. Get your shotguns, handguns, and ammo. Cause we don't care about your corporate scandal. We all got rich and we got the bill. Y'all got rich and we got the bill. Get your water and shelter and camo. Get your shotguns, handguns, and ammo. Cause we don't care about your corporate scandal. We all got rich and we got the bill. Y'all got rich and we got the bill.
Hey, I'm Tim Black from WNIN. You're listening to the Jazz Flight on 91.5 WU.